Hi, my name is Lacey King, and this presentation is about a project I did called The Cycle of Compassion. It is about trying to create a better me so that I can be more a part of the cycle of compassion. Compassion can become cyclic, and it has to start somewhere. And basically, what that means is the more that we try to feel compassion for ourselves and others, then the more we want to feel compassion. And it can just continue to be a cycle where that compassion grows. So I made a list of my major flaws that keep me from being my best compassionate self and set some specific goals to address those flaws and some specific practices to help generate more compassion. I also added some goals for general health and expanding my mind to help improve my mental and emotional state as aids to generating more compassion and learning how to be a better leader. So, the two major things to that are that we lead by example. So, if I want to inspire more compassion in other people, then I need to be a more compassionate leader. And also, if we are really stressed out or we're in poor physical health, or struggling with emotionally, we're not going to be as compassionate. We can become more overwhelmed, experience burnout, maybe be cranky with other people, or have more triggers for anger. And that really stifles compassion. So, being more compassionate also includes trying to help improve our physical, mental, and emotional health. My goals were activities that I set to complete over a few months. The first category was physical development, which included exploring, connecting with nature more, and exercising at least 3 times a week. Connecting with nature just in itself can help be a stress reliever, as well as you're getting outside and getting sunlight, exploring, which also includes exercise. And it's just good for overall mental and emotional health as well. They're all connected. The next category is intellectual pursuits, which included reading books related to mind, body, and spirit wellness at least 30 minutes every day. This one did not turn out how I thought it would. I did find some really good books on mind, body, and spirit wellness, also some good books on leadership. But then I also found myself really engaging in reading fictional books, fictional stories, and being able to apply what I had read from these other factual books. It was just interesting how I would go through the fictional books, and I was actually reading the fictional books as some of my self care or me time. But then in the process of reading those fictional books, realized that I was taking all the knowledge from the learning time and applying it to those stories and thinking, hey, did they really act like a good leader in this situation? Or was this person as compassionate as they could have been? Is this how I would have handled it? If not, what would I have done differently? I found myself really deeply analyzing these fantasy stories and applying that knowledge to them, which just helped ingrain it in me further and helped me put it into better practice in a way. So I just thought that was an interesting development. Emotional care is the next category, which would include setting better boundaries, taking quiet time, meditating every day. I am or wasn't very good about my self emotional care. I tend to challenge myself too much or push myself too much, and then I end up feeling overwhelmed or I end up struggling with burnout. And I had these things on my list. I try to get around to meditating, but then I'd get busy, I'd forget. It was difficult to get into the habit of it. Or, I wouldn't want to take quiet time for myself because then that meant asking somebody else to take the kids or watch the kids for a little bit or something. And I didn't like feeling like a burden to other people. So I wasn't really taking the me time I needed. And that's so important for our health. So I wasn't prioritizing it like I should have been, basically. The next category is ethics. Spend at least 1 hour every week learning to let go of any anger or grudges and find compassion for people I feel it the least toward. This really required me to dig deep into my feelings and try and think of anybody I felt like had jilted me at any point in my life and why I might still feel any kind of anger over it or upset, analyze it, look at the source, and figure out how to process it, and put some practices, mindful practices, into play that would help me let go of those things and move on. And one of the good ways to do that actually is find compassion for someone that I feel it the least toward. I mean, you really want to build compassion for other people. Think of somebody that you can't stand, whether you know them personally, whether it's a serial killer or something, a particular type of person, whichever. Analyze why you feel that way toward them. And what I would ask myself is, can I find a way to feel compassion toward this person? Regardless of whatever mistakes that they have made, ultimately, they are a human being like me. We have all done things that were not the greatest. We've all made mistakes. And ultimately, we end up making these mistakes, or we end up doing something, whether it's on purpose or an accident, that hurts someone else because we have been damaged by someone else in the first place. But once I could have that compassion for that person that I disliked the most, it really had a domino effect, a positive domino effect on how I felt toward other people that I was struggling to have compassion for. And then all of this also helped have more compassion for myself and my own flaws and my own mistakes. We really do have a tendency to be hard on ourselves, and we shouldn't. I was able to grow more by having more compassion for myself and seeing my mistakes as lessons instead of beating myself up for them. The last category on the list is service to others, which included helping more homeless people and listening to their stories. I have had a habit for a while of giving money or food to homeless people or people who are struggling that you see on the corner with a sign saying they need help. But this included me stopping and introducing myself, talking to them, finding out what their story was, where they were from, how they got to where they are, what kind of person they are. And they were really fascinating. It was really neat to listen to some of their stories. Some of them had family that didn't know that if they were dead or alive. Some of them had traveled across the country just on foot, just staying place to place. It was really interesting, and it really helped me connect more with that group of people. So, some unexpected challenges and then also some unexpected achievements. I had one of those moments where I challenged myself a little too much when I was rock climbing, and I ended up falling and breaking my leg, which meant I was not able to exercise like I had originally planned. So I did have to adapt some of my goals and also how I completed some of my other goals. So it did put me out of commission on some things, but again, I adapted. Staying positive really helped, and accepting that, hey, all right, this sucks, but I'm in this situation. We can't change that. I can't magically make my leg be unbroken, but I can accept it for what it is and just find a way to continue on with this project and adapt to my goals so that I can still make it happen. It did end up helping me go above and beyond some things, like the reading, the meditation, because for a while that was almost all I had time to do. And so now I'm in the habit of meditating every day, at least 2 to 3 times. I'm reading more again, not quite like I used to still, but still a lot more than I was. And it's a really good feeling. Which has also had a domino effect into helping me take more me time, where I will sit down and read a book that I really enjoy more frequently than I was. So that has really helped my emotional and mental health. It did also open up some new life opportunities. I work as a personal trainer, and there is a really good gym that I was able to contract with that's right by my foot doctor's office. It has a really positive vibe to it. The owner is really nice. So that was one of the opportunities that came up. It also helped once I got to the point where I could do physical activity again, and I started on my physical therapy. I got really into the habit of making sure to exercise every single day because I really had to stay on top of my physical therapy. It doesn't matter what a little it is, even if it's just a few squats and some jumping jacks or whatever, and just, a few stretches, it's something every single day. So that is better than nothing. And it's really helped me stay on top of it. And it's helped make me want to do more. And of course, I have my days when I have more workout time and more exercise, but it's not every single day that I do the longer workouts, but still, every little bit helps. It also did show me some flaws I hadn't noticed before. I have a tendency to expect more from other people than I realized. And that can create unnecessary controversy or frustrations. And I did also realize that I have more self doubt than I realized. And I think that's been a really big thing that has held me back from a lot of things, actually. So this has really helped me to work through a lot of that. And I've made more progress professionally and on some other things in my personal life in just that few month time period than I had in the previous few years. So it's really helped open up some doors and windows and some channels within myself to really make more progress. But I did also set some new goals to address those flaws. They still need work. And I am also continuing the original project because there's still always room for improvement. So, some of the happenings, I did go camping. I also went hiking in the mountains, but the first picture is of me camping. The next picture is a book I read. Well, I'm still working on reading it. It's a little bit thick and it's just, I'm changing out books. I have a stack of them I'm working on. But this one is called Body by Breath: The Science and Practice of Physical and Emotional Resilience. It's really good. It includes breathing techniques, taking care of emotional and mental health, and how that can affect our physical health. So, again, it's that mind, body, spirit thing, how it's all tied together. The last picture is the lobby of the gym that I am now contracting with. And it says, "Be good to people" on the wall. So, I think that's a really good fit for me. And connecting with nature was great. I mean, just going out in nature can be a great stress reliever. Just make sure to check out more projects at hashtag Better World Project. Mine is called Cycle of Compassion, and I'm sure other people have some really great projects that they worked on, and we can all learn from each other. Thank you for listening.